Okay, here we have your humidifier. Okay, to inspect the humidifier, simply remove this plastic cover here. That'll gain you access to the inside here. And basically what we're looking for is any calcium deposit on the filter inside there. The more calcium deposit you have on that filter, the less airflow will go through, less humidity throughout the house. To change this humidifier pad, simply remove the thumb nut here, thumb nut on this side as well, and this will drop down. To reinsert, handy to have a flashlight just to inspect where you're putting it up there, and that'll allow you to insert it that much easier. Here you have open and closed. Open for the winter, closed for the summer, and typically check that each time I come for your service call at your 2-month, 5-month, and year end. This here's your hot water circulation pump. Basically what this does is circulates the water in a continuous loop. So if you were to turn the faucet on in the ensuite, let's say, you'll have hot water a lot quicker than you normally would if this wasn't present. You do have the ability to adjust your temperature up or down depending on comfort level. We have it set at 115, and this is thermostatically controlled. So once this the pump is finished and it's satisfied, it'll shut off. So energy efficient for sure. This here is your humidifier water shut off. Currently it's about, well, it's halfway on. If we had it in a fully open position, you're basically wasting water. That's why we dial it down a little bit so all the water isn't going down the drain. Here we have your control panel for your hot water tank. Currently it's set at B, which is kind of the comfortable setting. If you feel it's either too hot or not hot enough, simply turn it up or down there. Over here you have your gas shut off for your hot water tank. If it ever needed to be serviced, you just have the ability to shut it off here at the tank. In your mechanical room, just below the water meter here, you'll find a water valve. This valve here shuts the water off to the entire house. Simply a quarter turn and the water's off to the entire home. Any valve that goes across your water line is in the off position. Valve running with the water line is in the on position. Just above that water meter, you'll find another valve here. This is for the exterior lawn services. You'll have one at the front and one at the back. For the winter time, you want this going across the water line, and then outside you'll want to open up those valves. There's a little bleeder valve on the side here. You want to drain approximately a cup of water out just to bring the water to the inside of the house. No need to drain every last ounce of water out of that line. Next to your electrical panel, you'll typically find your outside plug reset. If for any reason your outside plugs don't work, come downstairs, you'll find the red light is in the on position. If that red light is on, that means there's no power to the outside. Simply hit the reset button. Once that red light goes out, power will resume. Inside your breaker panel, this is where you find all the breakers for the house. Everything is labeled nicely. These breakers in here, these are arc fault breakers, so these will detect if there's an overloaded circuit or a lamp with a bad cord. If that's the case, simply, process of elimination. Start unplugging things. If you find that there's still an issue, that's when you make a call to us. We'll send our electricians out. In your mechanical room, you'll find a unit such as this. This is an HRV, heat recovery ventilation. Purpose of this guy here is to exchange the air in your house. These are typically set up to exchange the air for about 20 minutes every hour running. And there's a few other options. Once we get up to the thermostat, I can show you basically how it works that way. Inside here, there's 3 filters. These are all washable filters. No need to replace any. Manufacturer says check this approximately every 4 months. Usually check it at the 2-month, the 5-month, and the year end, and then at the last service call, we'll go over it and wash it and pull it all apart and show you how that all works. Okay, here we have your furnace filter location. To gain access to your filter, simply pull on the handle, gain access. This is where you'll find your filter. These filters here, you can purchase these at your local hardware store. You can also purchase them on Amazon. You usually get 3 for approximately $90. It's a great deal. Remove the filter, simply just pull it out. And to check your filter, simply shine a light through it. Right now this light's illuminating a filter, so indicating it's still fairly clean. You want to check this filter every 4 months or so, and obviously if you have pets, you may want to check it a little more frequently. Just above this filter, you have your gas shut off. Again, if there was any maintenance required, we needed to shut the gas off, we have the ability to do so. In your mechanical room, you'll find a switch here labeled furnace. Basically, the only time you'll ever shut that off is if you need to check your furnace filter. Sometimes these filters, if they get too plugged, they will shut your furnace down, and we'll need to do we'll call it a reboot or a restart after you've changed your filter. That's typically the only time you really need to shut it off. This here pipe, this one here, this is the emergency drain for the laundry, upper floor laundry. Just tied into the floor drain here. We hope there's no water ever going to come through it. This here is your backwater valve. This basically prevents any sewer from backing up into the house from the city side. Okay. For your fireplace, to turn your fireplace on, you've got a switch here. You also have one just below that switch. This is a rough-in for a future fan if you decide to put a fan kit in. Once you've turned that switch on, the pilot light will engage, and there'll be a slight delay for the actual flame to engage. When you do shut the switch off, the flame will shut off as well as the pilot light. So you don't have a pilot light burning on these anymore. To access the glass, you want to remove the screen simply by pressing on 2 tabs on the top, and then your screen comes out. And that allows you access down here. If your pilot light ever went out, you have the ability to relight the pilot light. Okay. Inside your washroom, you find a ground fault circuit interrupter, GFCI. This is just a safety plug. If the red light is on, it means you have no power to that plug. Just simply reset it to engage power. With any bath fan, recommend you run your bath fan at least an hour after each shower and or bath. The colder the temperatures, the longer we'd like you to run them, just so you don't have any moisture buildup inside that flex line that runs from the interior of the home to the exterior of the house. Sometimes you can get ice accumulation in there if the fan isn't run long enough, which will result in moisture leaking back through the fan and staining the ceiling. So just can't stress enough, run your fans. The colder the temperature, the longer the time. This is your April Air fully programmable thermostat. This is where you'd come to adjust the air temperature or the temperature for the inside of your house, as well as the humidity. As well as if you wanted to exchange the air in the house. To adjust the humidity, there's a humidity control button. You simply hit that. This takes you to the screen to adjust your indoor humidity. When it's cold outside, you want to drop the indoor humidity, say 25%. There is a bit of a guide here that gives you kind of a rundown on where your humidity should be with relation to the temperature outside. Just turn it back up to 35. 35 is kind of where you want to be. You got hardwood. You also have the fresh air button here. This is the mode for running the HRV unit. You got a 24-hour event, you have a 3-hour event, and of course automatic. We like to leave it in automatic. I always say if you have a dinner party, you could use a 3-hour event. That'll turn the system on, run it for 3 hours, exchange the air in the house. Just creates a little more of a comfortable environment. If you got an excess amount of humidity and when it's really cold outside, so I suggest you do a 24-hour event. In doing that, the system's going to run for 24 hours, exchange the air in the house, and bring the fresh, dry air in and exhaust the humid air. Anytime you see an excessive amount of moisture on your windows, that's when you're going to want to come and actually turn down the humidity, just because it is too high for the temperature outside. The other thing you have here is on the mode side, you have heat, off, cool, and auto. If you have an air conditioning, you'll have the cool and auto icons flashing as well. This here is your hot water venting. Periodically in the winter time when it gets really cold outside, and breezy, you can get an accumulation of frost back here. If you get enough accumulation, the hot water tank will shut down, just a safety precaution. Simply remove any frost in here. There's nothing in here that can hurt you. Put your fingers back here, tap it, the frost will come back or fall down, and then the hot water tank will reboot automatically once the system detects the frost has been removed. Over here is your furnace venting. Basically, the only thing you need to do here is just ensure there's no ice accumulation coming off the exhaust pipe.